Now we're presenting the Geonosis Arena. This particular build was conceptualized for our Eurobricks community build, which I actually moderated. So the thing is, when we started in Eurobricks, I actually kind of jump-started the community building for the Star Wars theme, but being the moderator to actually start it off, people expect you, the other members expect you to build bigger. Yeah. So that's the issue that I had at that time. But if you watch the movie, Attack of the Clones, in this particular scene, the beasts play a major role in the movie. So when I wanted to do this particular diorama, the thing that I had to nail down first are the beasts. So I started with the smallest one, the Naxu. Okay. Now, when you try to do a build, there is a fine line where you have to go either with the detail or the scale. The problem that I had with the Naxu is it's too small, but it had a lot of detail that you want to put in. And, what I did in this one is it's essentially out of scale if you compare it to the actual one, but I wanted to put in the details. So I went to the other aspect of it. So that's why when people mention that, it's kind of out of scale, then that's what I mentioned to them, that, I went the other way.
Captures the essence, right?
Yes, essentially that. Next was the rig. One of the primary features of this one that a lot of AFOLs kind of realized, well, I didn't tell them what it is, but if you look at the nose that connects, it's the handcuffs.
Oh, that's really cool. Snorting, yeah.
And if when you try to do a design of a particular thing, you want to be able to repurpose some of the parts that that gave you the essentials of it. So the rig itself is based from some of the creator sets, because if you look at the particular creator sets, then that's how you'll know how the joints will work and that stuff. But then you add your own detailing to it.
But you take the body, like the body style, the body structure, I guess, from creator, from other line.
The creator sets are the ones that I use essentially just to see how the molding, comes about. But then I tailor it to.
It's a really good tactic. Really, really good tactic. Yeah, that's amazing. And so, describe your ability to kind of acquire parts for a build like this. You said there was kind of an emphasis here on building large, building at scale. How did you achieve such a massive build? It looks like it might be deceptive. Like there might be less parts than you think, just because it looks bigger. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Because here in this particular one, the use of the molded parts, makes a lot more sense.
Totally.
Because it's kind of repetitive anyway, if you take a look at the actual Geonosis Arena. But the other thing that come into play into this is how do you achieve the particular textures, for this. So if you look at the actual balcony, this was my main starting point, because for every diorama or a mock that I do, I always pick a central focal point, because
build out from there,
and it has to be recognizable to people. So when I started this, I built the balcony and then tried to get the feedback from my followers to see how it worked out. So generally, if the feedback is really good, then that's how I kind of continue with all of the pieces. Now, one portion that I'd like to point out, if you go through and look, through this, you have to pan out a bit and see who's behind. Mace Windu is there now, but the first time that I actually did this for a public display, he wasn't there. But here's the thing, a 6-year-old kid who's no taller and had to like, tiptoe to try to take a pic, inside.
Never noticed.
No, he commented that,
really?
yeah, he commented that, his face was like, something's missing. And I go like, what? And so, for the life of me, I was looking all over the place, trying to find out what was missing. Now, here's the thing. All log members, a lot of times when we do this place, we kind of play a prank on each other, and we switch figures all around. So my main thought at that time was one of my fellow log members probably switched or took a figure out. So now, after a couple of minutes of looking around, I go like, I can't see what's missing. So I asked the kid and said, can you tell me what's missing? Because I can't see anything, that's really missing, out of place. And the only thing he said was Mace Windu. And I go like, what? Fortunately for me, I always bring, the other minifigures, that go with the theme. So I had Mace Windu in the bag, and I placed him there, and from there onwards, he's there. I mean, a lot of people never notice him, but those who know, the actual scene, they take a pic and, they see him. But if they don't, or, they're trying, I always point out the story about how he came about, because, I mean, we could all learn, from even little kids, because they know exactly, where the details, how they should be.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's the little things, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it always is. And, when you think that you know everything, some little kid brings you down.
Brings you back to reality, right? That's awesome.
So you have to be so humble, because you don't know that, some of your work, even though you think, it's amazing and that stuff, yeah, you're still going to miss, some details at some point.
Definitely. And AC, to close this out here, this is based off of intellectual property that always exists. As we know, children can notice things that you've never noticed before.
Yes.
When you're building something like this, what is your one strategy to figure out how to build it, what you should be incorporating? Do you take screenshots from the movie? Do you find schematics? Do you maybe play the video game that was based off of the movie? What do you do?
Well, thank God for the internet.
Yes, yes.
Right? So whenever I start a new project, what I do is do a lot of research. So if I wanted to do Geonosis Arena, I just search for Geonosis Arena, and boom, it comes back, with the images that are distinctive for that particular subject. So before, when there wasn't much, internet or a lot of the pictures, I used to go watch the films, that particular scene where I want to do over and over, just to get the exact amount of details. But coming back to what I mentioned before, every scene that I do, I always have a central focal point, which I know is iconic to the whole, scene. So in this particular case, I started, like I said, with the balcony. But there are also, when you try to do a big scale mock like this, there are certain features that have to be incorporated in there. The three beasts have to be there because they are part, of the whole scene. The pillars where the prisoners are, they have to be there, because if you take one, out of the scene, some other kid is gonna come around and say, you're missing something.
It's very true. It's very true.
And that's an experience that you don't ever want to have to answer unless you have that missing piece, to put in to complete the scene.
It's very insightful. Very insightful. AC, thank you so much for sharing with us. Wonderful build.
Thank you as well.